The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two, with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bets. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot.
You always get way more with Betway.
This
advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 5:30 p.m. here in Accra. Welcome to Eyewitness News, live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka. My name is Nanatufo Boateng, and I am here with
Eno Safo.
Coming up over the next 1 hour, 30 minutes.
The unfortunate thing is that whilst we are taxing the poor Ghanaian to raise this revenue, we are also at the same time granting tax waivers to friends and family members.
Minority in Parliament accuses government of hiding under the guise of its one district, one factory policy to grant 7 billion Ghana cedis in tax waivers to their cronies. Also coming up, government pays $20 million out of 140 million Ghana Power Generation Company judgment debt. This was disclosed by Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. We'll get to him for more details. And later on Eyewitness News, Amnesty International calls for withdrawal of anti-gay bill from Parliament, describing it as a violation of human rights. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and other stories on Eyewitness News. But later in business.
Section of business community calls for more engagement over issues related to letters of commitment.
Eyewitness News is live across the country on all affiliates. Join us in the Upper West region on Tupani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli and Jirapa 96.1 FM. We're live in the Upper East region on Rikas 92.1 FM in Bongonamo. Join us in the Northern region on North Star Radio 92.1 FM in Tamale. We're live in the Northeast region on Nobia 98.1 FM in Lerigu. Welcome to Beach 105.5 FM and Sky Power 93.5 FM, both in Takrade in the Western region. In the Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM from the KNUST campus and Orange 107.9 FM, both in Kumasi. You're welcome to Sela Radio 97.1 FM in Dabala and Holy 98.5 FM in Aflao in the Volta region. And we're also live in the Savannah region on Kasha 99.5 FM in Damango. Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. We begin the bulletin from Parliament, and Eno Safo has our first story.
The minority in Parliament is accusing government of plans to present a 7 billion Ghana cedis tax waiver request to Parliament for cronies in the trade industry. The caucus says this is in addition to the 5 billion Ghana cedis request, which is currently before the Finance Committee for approval under the guise of incentive packages for the One District, One Factory policy. Speaking to journalists, the ranking member on the Trade and Industry Committee, Yusuf Sulemana, says the minority will resist the imposition of regressive taxes on Ghanaians if the tax waivers are not scrapped.
To the tune of 11 billion Ghana cedis. The unfortunate thing is that whilst we are taxing the poor Ghanaian to raise this revenue, we are also at the same time granting tax waivers to friends and family members. For instance, we have about 5.5 billion tax exemptions waiting at the Finance Committee.
Let's go on to the phone lines and speak to Honorable Yusuf Sulemana. He's the Deputy Ranking Member on the Trade and Industry Committee and a Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy. Good evening, sir, and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening, my brother. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you. I trust you're doing well, too.
We thank God.
Awesome. This tax waivers, how much of a headache is it giving you?
Yeah, so it's true that this morning I granted interview to the media to sort of state our position when it comes to tax exemptions under the 1D, 1F program. The program started in 2017, 2018, and government came in with a lot of tax exemptions for some companies. They got to a point to realize that the system was being abused. And so we suggested that we should suspend the granting of tax exemptions and then come out with a tax exemption act. We have put that in place.
Honorable, when you say the system was being abused, how do you mean?
For instance, until the bill was enacted, it was difficult for you to assess the number of jobs that were created by these companies as a result of the tax incentives that they were granted. And again, there was no any.
You have just what?
We'll rework the lines and get to the Honorable Yusuf Sulemana, Deputy Ranking Member on the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament and MP for Bole Bamboy, to give us more updates on this particular matter, because the minority is accusing the government of seeking to grant a staggering 7 billion Ghana cedis in tax waivers to their cronies in the trade industry. Now, this revelation comes in the wake of an existing 5 billion Ghana cedis tax waiver request currently before the Finance Committee, disguised as an incentive package or incentive packages for the One District, One Factory policy. Now, the Honorable Sulemana, whom we've been speaking to, has warned that the minority would fiercely resist any attempt to impose further regressive taxes on Ghanaians if the government fails to scrap these tax waivers. The Honorable Sulemana is back on the line. Thank you very much, sir, for your patience. You were explaining the abuse of the system prior to the enactment of the act. If you can wrap that up for me, please.
So I said that before or prior to the enactment of the Tax Exemption Act, we had realized that we could not even quantify the kind of benefit that we were getting as a result of granting those tax exemptions. And so there was a need for an act to be put in place. We have put that act in place, and we still think that the way and manner the tax exemptions are flowing into Parliament for exemptions, if we are not careful, we will be taxing the poor Ghanaian, at the same time granting tax waivers to people that may not necessarily deserve it. So, for instance, we have in Parliament here over 5.7 billion tax exemptions request with the Finance Committee, and they are asking that these companies be given those kind of tax exemptions. Again, we are informed, reliably informed, that the Ministry of Finance, you have about 7 billion taxes request in terms of tax exemptions that the ministry is preparing to forward to us. Now, if you put the two together, you are talking about 12.5 billion Ghana cedis. That is what the government, and for that matter, the Ministry of Finance as well as the Ministry of Trade are willing to give to friends and cronies in the name of 1D, 1F. At the same time...
But, Honorable, can these companies be confirmed to really be under the 1D, 1F?
Yes, so again, that is where we have a problem. If you recall, the 1D, 1F was supposed to be the establishment of new factories, okay, in each districts of this, in each of the districts of this country. Fast forward, they have decided to box what we refer to as provision for companies that are not doing well with that of 1D, 1F. And so clearly, you don't even know whether the companies that are benefiting from these tax exemptions are 1D, 1F companies or not. That is where the confusion starts.
Right, but you would agree that the 1D, 1F policy is aimed to drive industrialization, which is much needed considering the state of the Ghanaian economy. And so if you agree to that, are these tax waivers or incentives not justifiable?
Can you take this up? The line went off briefly. So can you take it up again?
Well, I'm asking that if you would agree with me that the 1D, 1F policy is aimed at driving industrialization, which is much needed considering the state of the Ghanaian economy, then will these tax waivers and exemptions be justified or justifiable?
So first of all, let me tell you that nobody is against the industrialization of this economy. The economies that we mentioned today and economies that are doing very well in the world are economies who have taken industrialization seriously. And so nobody is in dispute when it comes to the concept of industrialization and how it is going to turn our economy into a job-creating economy. But what we are saying is that it's not just any policy that works out. This 1D, 1F, some of us have argued that is dead on arrival. And that's exactly what we are seeing. Can you mention to me 4 or 5 years down the line after the implementation of 1D, 1F, that the objectives for which 1D, 1F was introduced, any of the objectives, can you mention to me that any of the objectives have been achieved? For instance, it is supposed to ensure that we improve upon our foreign reserves. In other words, our foreign currency is strengthened. Today, we haven't achieved that. It is to ensure that we have created jobs. Today, we haven't achieved that. It is to ensure that we have factories in all the districts that we have in this country. As I speak to you, the concentration is either in Accra here or Kumasi. Is in Accra here or Kumasi because these are existing factories that they are sought to help and to put them under 1D, 1F. So clearly all the objectives for which 1D, 1F were set up, we haven't met them. And so if you ask me, why are we still interested in giving them tax exemptions when we are not meeting the object for which 1D, 1F was introduced?
Honorable, so as it stands and with the information you have, government is seeking to grant 12.5 billion Ghana cedis in tax exemptions. But you say that these will be going to friends and family members. Can you prove same?
Yes, so first of all, let me say that when I say they are going to friends and family members, you see, there's a saying that when a blind man says that he will throw a stone at you, then it means that he's stepping on one. Okay? And so we are saying to them that they are not, the companies that they have shortlisted and forwarded to us, many Ghanaians are complaining that they have also applied because there's no any standard transparent criteria by which they are selected. Some of them were left out, okay? And they themselves have pointed to us that A was selected because A has ABC relationship, and we are keeping that to ourselves. At appropriate time, we will speak out on the floor of Parliament. We're just throwing out this information to let government know that we are watching them, to let government know that the kind of support they are giving to their families and their friends is not going to be tolerated by this minority side.
So the government, according to you, is seeking to grant 12.5 billion cedis in tax exemptions under the 1D, 1F, and at the same time imposing 11 billion Ghana cedis of taxes on Ghanaians. Honorable, if this is anything to go by, how are you seeking or hoping to save the ordinary Ghanaian?
Now, let me also say this, that this was a government whilst in opposition promised as a production-driven economy, and that it was only lazy people who tax their people to generate revenue for the development of this country. Fast forward, Ghanaians voted for them. And they came in and decided that there were some taxes they describe as nuisance taxes. And so they had to take off those taxes. Within the next 2 years, as we speak, they started introducing taxes. And today, from 2017 to date, this government introduced about 50 new taxes, 50 taxes. And some of these taxes were indeed more than what we describe as nuisance taxes. So some of them, they had to come back to Parliament to repeal them, to repeal the acts. Now, as I speak to you, in this 2024 budget, they have introduced new taxes that is going to generate about $11 billion US. Now, some of the taxes are even more nuisance than we can think of. For instance, they're going to charge us 100 Ghana cedi flat per ton of carbon dioxide. Tell me, how are they going to measure the carbon, the smoke that we're going to generate? So if there's a factory somewhere that is generating carbon dioxide, this government is saying that for every ton, they're going to charge 100 Ghana cedi. How are you going to do this? This is indeed a tax that you cannot talk about when it comes to the issue of the principle of equity. Again, you cannot talk about the principle of certainty and the taxation. And so such taxes are the taxes to be described as nuisance. Again, you are talking about imposing a tax on Ghanaians where somebody who is using what we call Okada, another person who is using Pragia, another person who is using, these tricycles in this country and trying to survive are going to pay 100 cedi flat annually. Then somebody who is using a diesel or petrol machine, let's say an automated truck, a V8 driver, and what have you, are also going to pay the same 100 cedis flat per annum. That again is retrogressive. You don't charge the poor and the rich the same figures when it comes to proper taxation. And so we're saying that these are some of the taxes that will not allow them to impose on our people. Come to think of it, my brother, I have my brothers, I have my constituents, and you have your brothers, and you have some people down the line who are very poor, and that they have managed to buy, let's say, a tricycle out of which they make a living. You are charging such a person 100 Ghana cedi flat per annum, and you are charging somebody who is a businessman and riding in a very posh vehicle 100 cedis. Where have you ever seen this kind of system? And these are some of the things that we are saying that we will not allow them to impose them on our citizens. At the same time, trying to create a tax exemption policy where over 12 billion Ghana cedi will be given to friends and family members.
Well, Honorable, you keep saying you will not allow it, but we saw what happened with respect to the passage of the budget itself. How any further steps beyond registering your position?
This is a very important question you have asked. And that is why we think that we shouldn't keep this information to ourselves, but to speak out so that civil society organizations, so that experts in taxation, so that the media, the chiefs, the clergy, the Council of State will all reason with us and call the president and his vice president to order. And you cannot continue to impose hardship on the very people who have voted you into power. You cannot continue to impose taxes on the poor when the rich are getting richer. For instance, the tax, the restriction that they had wanted to impose on us. You know, the Ministry of Trade had wanted to impose some restrictions in terms of the importation of what they describe as strategic commodities. We spoke out. We made noise. We appealed to civil society organizations. We appealed to the clergy. We appealed to the media. And here, let me thank the media for amplifying our voices. And at the end of the day, the government had to backtrack. And so as I speak to you, the government has suspended that. It's the same approach we want to use, that we are calling on the civil society organizations, we are calling on the media, we are calling on Ghanaians who have other Ghanaians, especially the poor, at heart, to say that enough is enough, and that we cannot continue to impose taxes of this nature on our people. Now, when it comes to voting, we always stand by the people. We know that today, we have about 136 of our members present. Okay? If they bring the bills today, we, the 136, I can assure you, will go against it to register our displeasure and to register our position. If they refuse and they use their numbers to go ahead, Ghanaians would have known that they have brought us here to represent them, and we have done exactly that.
Thank you very much, sir, and we wish you well.
I'm grateful, my brother.
Yusuf Suleiman is the Deputy Ranking Member on the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament and MP for Bole Bamboy. There's been a response to this issue of tax waivers and tax exemptions. Eno will give us the details.
The Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, says he will liaise with the Finance Minister to ensure tax waivers offered under the One District, One Factory policy are sanitized.
The applications are made to the Minister of Trade and Industry, but we are not the last port of call. When the figures are presented as on the basis of the items that I've indicated, we then forward the application to the Minister of Finance, who will then go through items, one item after the other, to ensure the sanctity of what has been presented. So he's talking about all the billions he's talking about. I'm not so sure what is it that he's talking about. But we'll have a look and see the figures. If the figures are justified, so be it. He can listen. An economy is run in a particular way. He says that, well, you're giving this away and you're asking Ghanaians to pay this much. Well, in the end, what is the effect? What is the cascading effect, the boomerang effect of the policy that government has put in place to ensure the rejuvenation of the economy by way of local production? That is the measure of assessment of the policy that has been put in place. It's not a matter of simply isolating one figure and just opposing that figure against another one. But let's see the logic in this argument. I will have a good look at the figures. I will get the Minister of Finance and our team to sit down, sanitize the figures, and see where it all ends up. It is true, it has been bogged up. The issue of exemption has been bogged up in this parliament. The parliament, well, I mean, again, I think at committee level for a very long time. Long before, in fact, since 2021, there has been a struggle, one struggle after the other. The economic, the Finance Committee of Parliament is not even sitting on this matter to discuss this. We had a lot of run-ins. We had several arguments on the floor. You guys have heard us, on this matter. But one way or the other, we've got to sanitize it. It's a policy of government, a deliberate policy to encourage local production and a transformation of our economy to purposely give out, as I said, incentivize them by the facility we're talking about, the exemption. If it is the case that some individuals are abusing the system, of course, we would recognize all that for what it's worth. But it's not for a ranking member to just run amok.
Minister, the last time you had a question to the chairman of the Finance Committee on this exemption.
I wanted to understand what on earth was holding all these things up. Because as I said, there have been some arguments have been going on as to why the committee would not sit. Look, when the matter is referred to the committee, it is incumbent on it. I'm a member of the Finance Committee myself, but of course I'm not a chairman of it. It's for the chairman to arrange for the committee to meet and then decide one way or the other. A report would have to be prepared. A decision has to be taken. Well, I'm not worried about taking decisions at all. Decisions are taken one way or the other. It is this or that. You can't sit on the fence. That's not the way to do things. So, yes, I wanted to be sure. I don't recall the question. You remember the question I put since you are the custodian of the question. Yes, what did I ask?
Why there was a delay?
No, why do you say it? You see, that's your problem. You think you know so much. You don't, Good afternoon.
That was Trade and Industry Minister Kobna Tahir Hammond.
You're listening to 97.3 FM, Citi FM. This is Eyewitness News. A few of your messages coming in. Alex Kofiyarini from Adenta Commando says Ghanaians will suffer so much next year as the government is determined to render more people poorer in Ghana with more taxes. Zalex Dwayne in London says, no long talk. This government is a failure. Father SK from Kenyasi in Kumasi says it's about time Ghana kicks out both NPP and NDC out of the political race to focus on the best option to bring the bleeding economy back on track. Aziz Donla from WA, granting tax exemption to party members is the hallmark of this government. Well, this is your allegation. These funds could have been used to finance projects and programs that would benefit ordinary citizens. What kind of nation is this? Jones Adoboy from La. Good evening, Nana. Good evening to you, Jones. It's very unfortunate how this Nanado government is shortchanging the poor Ghanaian, granting tax exemptions to cronies in the name of 1D1F. This is very bad. Ghanaians must rise up to this broad daylight robbery. Ghanaians are not angry enough. Let us hear from you. Send us your comments, your thoughts, and your contributions via the WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. Stay with us here on Eyewitness News. When we come back, government pays $20 million out of $140 million Ghana Power Generation Company judgment. We'll tell you who is saying this and how he knows this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
It is your time to vote for your assembly members and unit committee members. So get involved and vote. It's a civic duty required of you as a Ghanaian. So get involved and vote.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
It is your time to vote for your assembly members and unit committee members. So get involved and vote.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News here on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's move on to some other stories. And the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Finance, has ordered the payment of $20 million as part payment for a $140 million judgment debt. Now, a letter signed by the Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta, dated November 11, 2023, ordered that the said sum be paid or released as part settlement of the arbitral award to the Ghana Power Generation Company. Now, this transmission letter was published on social media by the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, who also happens to be the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. He joins us via telephone to give us more details on this. Good evening, Mr. Ablakwa.
Hi, good evening.
I trust you're well.
By the grace of God, how about you?
I'm doing well. So, a High Court in the UK months back affirmed this judgment in favor of the GPGC. And so, if our government, in respect of this judgment debt, is issuing payments Why should there be a cause for concern? Why are you accusing the government of recklessly and wickedly creating this judgment debt, as you captioned it on social media?
Yeah, good evening to you and good evening to all our distinguished listeners. So it is important to start from the beginning. The Akufo-Addo government decided to abrogate this GPGC contract. And I have read the 26 October 2023 defense put up by the former Energy Minister, the Honorable Boakye Ejako, and he sought to spread the blame that he should not be blamed alone, and that they set up a committee and that the recommendations went to cabinet, and that the cabinet chaired by the president took this decision to abrogate this contract. So if what the Honorable Boakye Ejako is saying is the case, then what it means is that President Akufo-Addo and his cabinet will have to be explaining to the Ghanaian people why they have brought us here. Because remember that we would not have had to be saddled with this judgment debt, but for the termination of the contract, which the courts, both in Ghana and in London, have determined that it was unlawful. They have not meant worse that that whole abrogation was wrongful, it was reckless, and that is what has occasioned this arbitral award of a staggering, a whopping $140 million. Imagine what $140 million can do. I mean, we are talking about, in today's terms, 1.6 billion, not million, billion Ghana cedis, 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. That's more than the budget of so many ministries. I mean, I am going through a disaster now. You know that we are struggling to construct emergency houses for VRA-induced flood victims. We've only managed to finish one, and we are scrambling all over the place, pleading with donors, begging philanthropists. And I must thank the Ghanaian people for coming through for us. You heard me in Parliament and the responses from various ministers saying that Ghana is in a hard place currently. This economy has been so mismanaged that that government at this point cannot provide emergency houses. So if we consider the context, how, even very important needs of our people cannot be met. I've only cited my constituency. Today in Parliament, the Honorable MP in time revealed that his hospital, the district hospital, has been disconnected because government could not pay arrears of ECG. And many MPs, including my good self, recounted what is happening in district hospitals across. Government is now saying they don't have money to pay the electricity bills of these hospitals. And so from June this year, what has happened is that the hospitals are on their own, and ECG is on the disconnection spree. One would have expected that hospitals will be exempted, because when you disconnect hospitals, I mean, this is life that you are jeopardizing. Imagine, those who are on the theater tables. Imagine those in incubators, preterm babies. Imagine those on oxygen. Imagine what happens to the medication, which require to be stored in refrigerators in a particular, manner at specific temperatures. When you just disconnect electricity like that because the government says they don't have the money, you're just killing people. I mean, literally, that's what it is. You remember not too long ago what happened at Kolebu, the renal center, just because of 1 million Ghana cedis. We lost 19 people. So if in the midst of all of this, because of the reckless decision of the Akufo-Addo cabinet to abrogate this contract, we now, per these documents I have intercepted, the finance minister has begun payment, and that is over 230 million Ghana cedis. And this is just part payment. Remember that the total amount will eventually work out to some 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. This is totally avoidable. I mean, if they had allowed this PPA, contract to run its term, it was for a 5-year period, Ghana would not have had to be saddled with this. So this is clear causing financial loss to the Republic. And look at the state of our economy. We are the IMF. So sometimes when you see the recklessness, the bad decisions of some of our leaders, you wonder. I mean, if corporate Ghana was their business, would they run it this way? Would they take these decisions? Because the politicians who create these judgment debts, they don't pay out of their own pockets. It is you and I, our taxes. It's the taxpayer who bears the brunt. So they continue. I'm sure that is why in the wisdom of the lawmakers of old, they put in provisions for, willfully causing financial loss so that public officials will be deterred. But it appears that, we still have a crop of leaders who are still not deterred and are creating these avoidable judgment debts. Now, we have to come up with 1.6 billion. And remember that the finance minister had to issue this authorization and make this payment because the company, the GPGC, Trafigura, they had attached Regina House. As ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I know that these diplomatic missions at our Ghana High Commission in the UK, these diplomatic properties came under threat. They had attached them. We will have lost these properties. And so payments have to be made at this time. At the time you are disconnecting hospitals, you say you can't pay. At the time you can't take care of flood victims, you can't build houses for them. At the time you say that you can't even give school feeding caterers what they need. You can't pay NAPCO, trainees, NAPCO workers, you've asked them to go home, you're owing them. So there's so many arrears. Look, even if you look at this Assembly Common Fund, arrears over many quarters. You take health insurance. The last time hospitals received money under health insurance was in May. Government says they don't have money. June, July, August, September, October, November, all in arrears. And yet, because of reckless decisions, we have to pay these sums of money. Else, the company will begin selling our properties in the UK. I mean, it's incredible the level of recklessness which this Akufo-Addo government has exhibited in these matters.
Well, Honorable, so in your estimation, this could have been avoided, but the government in 2017, and upon the advice of the Attorney General then, said that the deal, due to its attendant high tariffs, if implemented, would have cost the state $115,480,000. This you said this was a 5-year PPA deal. If it had allowed, the state had allowed it to run its course, wouldn't it have cost us more than what we are paying now?
No, not at all. Now we have a judgment debt of $140 million. If it had run its course for 5 years, we would have paid $115 million or $114 million in some documents I have seen. Be that as it may, that will be for actual work done. We will have had power, our industries will have used it, we will have had value for money, and it will have been over a 5-year period. Now here we are. You must cough up $140 million. The The finance minister is now pleading with this company, and the company is being impatient with us. Now we are not going to pay this $140 million over 5 years. So you see how reckless the decision makers have been. I mean, $114 or $115 million, lower than $140 million over a 5-year period, for which you will have had value for money. The people will have generated electricity. You will have remember that this came in during the period of Doomsday, and we had to make sure that there's generation capacity so that we can keep the lights on, so that we can industrialize, so people can stay, in their businesses, so businesses don't collapse and all of that. So look at all the value chain that we will have received if this, power plants were allowed to run. What in terms of actual value will be far in excess of that $114 that now here we are. We've just made these guys rich. You're going to give them $140 million of taxpayers' money for no work done. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, I'm sure that the GPGC guys are smiling all their way to the bank. Who wouldn't want to be in their shoes? Who wouldn't want to be in their shoes? Because you haven't generated power. Your contract has been cancelled. They've asked you to keep your machines. We don't want to see you. And yet, taxpayers' money, $1.6 billion, we are collecting all and giving it to them for no work. That all they have to do, cross their legs, smile all the way to the bank, laugh actually to the bank, and laugh at the reckless leadership that Ghana has been subjected to. I mean, in the midst of our needs, and this is a country at the IMF. Like, this is a country seeking a bailout. This is a country that is doing financial haircut, saying that people who have worked all their life earnings, pensioner bondholders, they all have to take a haircut. I mean, businesses, banks, everybody has been robbed of their earnings. And it is because of such reckless decisions. So this doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense when it was cancelled, and these payments don't make sense. And look, the Ghanaian people, we have to rise and we must demand that those, and I think that we should even take a second look at these pieces of legislation. I mean, because those who create these financial laws, don't really, have to pay from their means, their pockets. They don't lose anything as long as it's their party in power. Unless all the cases where these financial laws have been applied, it appears that it's only when there's regime change. So people feel so emboldened to continue with the recklessness. But you see, this must stop. $140 million, $1.6 billion. We didn't get the power. Companies haven't benefited. No jobs have been created. The people were not allowed to do any work. And they are smiling all the way to the bank because of the recklessness of the Akufo-Addo cabinet.
Right. Now, at this point, a court has ruled. There's a judgment debt against that. Should we not be making efforts, as the finance ministry is making now, to settle this debt, to avoid, more further penalties?
I do not know to what extent Attorney General has tried to at least appeal. And see if they can even get the figures to come down a bit, because so far I'm not convinced that we have put in the best effort, having created this needless judgment debt. I haven't seen a vigorous fight on the part of government to at least mitigate our losses. I don't see that. I mean, it's so painful if you are going through what I'm going through or what my displaced persons are going through. And as I speak to you, people are sleeping in classrooms for 10 weeks, 11 weeks now. They've lost everything, and they cannot even be assured resettlement. They can't be assured compensation. I mean, government says it is broke. We've had to rely on the benevolence of Ghanaians, of the private sector, of corporate Ghana, churches, Islamic groups, foundations, and they hear. We all hear that we are going to be paying 1.6 billion, over 140 million dollars, in judgment debt, something totally avoidable. I mean, the people even have done no work. Should we settle for this? Can't we have some effort to at least mitigate our losses? And should we be paying all of this at this time? $230 million. That is more than all what has been allocated in the 2024 budget for flood victims. You remember? The flood victims, they've allocated $220 million.
Right.
For the whole year, for next year, the whole 2024.
Yeah.
And yet, what has been paid on 14th November, a few weeks ago, is 230.5 million
Ghana cedis. Yes.
I mean, just think about it. When you put this matter in proper context, you get more angry.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be doing this as a country.
Exactly.
We shouldn't.
Right.
Totally avoidable.
Before we let you go, and finally from me, you describe in your post as this judgment debt being recklessly and wickedly created, and you are hoping that the ministers who wrongfully terminated the GPGC contract and willfully caused financial loss to the state are preparing for the day of reckoning. Honorable, beyond this expose and as a legislator, what do you intend to do?
Yeah, so we have served notice that we'll be summoning the relevant ministers, the finance minister, the energy minister, the attorney general. They will have to answer questions in parliament on this. And that is the best we can do now until hopefully the Ghanaian people entrust us with political power. And you know that, I mean, under the current circumstances, you don't expect, unfortunately, the fight against corruption, protecting the public purse, punishing people who willfully cause financial loss, it only happens when there's a regime change. So in terms of holding people to account by way of prosecution, we can only expect that to happen, inshallah, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is sworn in on the 7th of January 2025. But before that, our oversight role in terms of summoning these ministers and finding out why they created, this, and seeing if there can even be a vote of censure. The last time we tried that, unfortunately, we didn't get the numbers required because you need 2/3, and we have an extremely partisan house, and so that always becomes a challenge. But we will not give up. We have already served notice that we are going to pursue this one. I mean, this is such a colossal amount of money. There's so much money, billions of cedis, that people will have to answer questions. I mean, you can't waste all of these resources. I mean, monies that should have been kept for development. It can do roads, it can do hospitals, it can solve our water problems, it can solve our housing challenges for displaced persons. There's so many things, that we can do with 1.6 billion cedis. And I can assure you that we are not going to be derelict on this matter in the House.
Right. Thank you very much, and we wish you well.
Thank you, my brother.
Samuel Okujetua Blakwa, Member of Parliament for North Tongue, and of course, Ranking Member for the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, speaking to us on the issue of judgment debt payments, part payments to GPGC. Let's go to Eno for some more stories.
Lead proponent of the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill, Samuel Nate George, says amendments have been made to Clause 4 of the bill, which caused a statement in Parliament. Clause 4 of the bill says a person shall not undermine the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values specified in Section 2 of the Act. This, according to the chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Kwame Anyimadu Entry, was ambiguous and needed to be deleted. Speaking to City News, Sam George says the proponents have amended the clause to solely stand on the Ghanaian Family Values Bill and has been included in the order paper for today.
Yes, well, Clause 4 has to do with prohibitions against undermining proper human sexual rights and family values. The chairman thought we should delete it But our position was simple, and I told the Speaker in the House that I could understand the difficulty of the chairman, but that is solving that problem did not warrant a deletion of the whole clause. And that's why the Speaker put it on ice. We've proposed amendments, which I believe the House would consider this afternoon, and I'm sure that we'll be able to pass it through. If you follow the proceeding yesterday, the Speaker agreed with my suggestion that we change the head note, and instead of making provisions undermining proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, we make that clause stand solely on Ghanaian family values. And so that's, we've worked on it. It's on the other paper. It's going to be taken this afternoon, hopefully, and I'm sure we'll be able to pass it through.
Reacting to a warning by Amnesty International Ghana that they will sue the House if the anti-LGBTQ bill is passed, George says the international body cannot sue Parliament for doing its job.
Recording so that we can use it for our 12 p.m. bulletin.
Okay.
Okay, so could you kindly let us know
We apologize for that. Samuel Nate George is the lead proponent of the anti-LGBTQ. But let's go to the Amnesty International and what they've been saying about the anti-LGBTQ bill. They've been saying that they've asked Parliament and the government to stop considering the anti-gay bill. The anti-gay bill, officially known as the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, seeks to criminalize same-sex sexual relationships, including oral sex and anal sex, with penalties ranging from 5 to 10 years in prison. It will also criminalize the advocacy for LGBTQ plus rights, the promotion of same-sex marriage or cohabitation, and the provision of support services to LGBTQ plus individuals. The organization is of the view that the bill will trample on human rights if passed. The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has described as unfortunate threats by the Ghana Association of University Administrators to strike if the former doesn't suspend its planned directives on office holding allowances in public universities. The association believes the scheme has caused some of its members to lose their allowances as the process is fraught with discrimination and unfair labor practices. Speaking to City News on their concerns, Director General of GTEC, Professor Ahmed Jinapo Abdullahi, said the Commission will continue to engage the association to come to a reasonable agreement.
It's unfortunate for GAWA to take such a position, especially when GTEC has engaged GAWA National. This year alone, 7 times that we've met GAWA National friend platforms in different forums. As we speak, I'm speaking to you from WA, where I'm meeting the National Executive Committee of UTAG, traditional universities. All officers or executives of UTAG are having a conference that I'm attending now to speak to these issues. We are talking of office holding. We are not talking of people's schedule of work or individuals what they are appointed to do. Office holding simply means that you are appointed as a staff of a university with a specific schedule. Depending on the management structure of that institution, you are put into an office, do 1 or 2 things, and once you are done doing whatever you're supposed to do within a certain specified period, which mostly is 2-3 years, you exit that office for another person to take over. We hope and pray that we continue to engage. GTEC, as I've always indicated, is there to ensure that there's efficiency and effectiveness when it comes to the management of the university administrative setup. Our job is to support, and we'll always support GAWA to get them what is due them. But the system must not be abused, and people should not take advantage of the lack of regulation that used to exist previously to more or less do things that is untoward. So we know there will not be any strike.
Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, Professor Ahmed Jinapo Abdullahi.
Well, this is still Eyewitness News. We'll take a break here and return with business.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how's your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that. Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
On 19 December 2023, oh, vote for the women for a better Ghana. The time for women is now. Let us vote, oh, vote for the women for a better Ghana. Ago, fellow Ghanaians, the Electoral Commission of Ghana has set Tuesday, 19 December 2023 for the District Assembly elections. On that day, we are encouraging all Ghanaians of voting age to go out and vote, especially for more women into our assembly.
Assembly about no basu ronya busuni emu. Ayade da ito so edon krono. Kai say e dadu dru wa obetu aba wejina on peswa so no.
There are currently over 9,000 assembly members in all the 261 assemblies in Ghana. Out of these, only about 800 are women. This is less than 10%.
When you say, why am I mu a mad so chain member? Nanso, a assembly members are measuring out about Bako and Nanya, look heavy no assembly hall. A balosa, what 80 Mumayinamwa, Mayana Madu, or fee assembly about to you. Anne, Umaya to Yaba, and Mamma.
Your vote for a woman on December 19, 2023 will help increase women representation at your assembly for equitable development.
Kai say you die about do your assembly more. A back my assembly no upon Kai
When men and women take decisions together, we all win. Yes, the time for women is now. This message is brought to you by the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALA. The time for women is now. Let us vote for the women for a better Ghana. On 19 December 2023, oh, vote for the women for a better Ghana. The time for women is now. Let us vote for the women for a better Ghana. For economic development, let us vote for the women for a better Ghana. For quality education, let us vote for the women for a better Ghana. For health and sanitation, let us vote for the women for a better Ghana.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Enu Safo. Let's settle for the details. The Importers and Exporters Association is urging its members to not wait till goods are ready at the ports for shipment before they begin processes to acquire letters of commitment. This comes on the back of an announcement by Bank of Ghana to exporters within the country to be proactive when it comes to the acquisition of letters of commitment so that bottlenecks are not encountered during the exportation process. Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobit, in an interview with City Business News, underscored the importance of complying to the call by the Bank of Ghana to avoid the potential legal ramifications.
We're in the business industry and people may want to cut corners. When I say cut corners here means that a person might want to export what is from here to the other part of the country, make sales, and then use the same proceed to buy goods and bring it in the form of importations. With that, you will definitely have a problem with the LC. And so people who want to beat the system wouldn't want to go through the LC suite, because if you go through the LC, then you are compelled, I think, after 3 months after sales and 3 months to 90 days, at least your proceeds should hit the Bank of Ghana. If after 3 months, 60 days, and you are not getting it, you can apply to Bank of Ghana. Maybe one way or the other, your payment is not coming in, maybe your supplier hasn't paid you, you need to inform the Bank of Ghana. Compliance level should be high, and I believe compliance level is not high. That is why the audit director in charge of export at the Bank of Ghana is raising the issue, because they see export goes out and they don't see the process.
Samson Asakia-Wingobit further called for enhanced stakeholder engagement between the association and the Bank of Ghana to address concerns related to the letter of commitment.
If you are embarking on exportation today, export of goods today, as part of the requirement, you need to have the letter of commitment to confirm that if your buyer pays you, your proceeds will come back. At least it's important that our proceed comes back to show up our currency so that the volatility of the dollar against the currency, making our currency the weakest in the sub-region here, is not the best. I think it's in the right direction that the director is appealing to exporters in the country. However, one was disappointed that the Bank of Ghana is having an engagement of this caliber and could not find its way to extend an invitation to the Office of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, especially the Executive Secretary, to also partake and use the opportunity to also advise Ghanaian exporters to always abide by the rules and the laws governing our country here.
Samson Asakia-Wingobit is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. With the increasing surge of technology and digital adaptation in Africa, players within the space are being urged to strengthen data protection systems at the workplace. According to the Africa Digital Rights Hub, the protection and safeguarding of personal data is increasingly becoming a challenge in the fourth revolution. Speaking on the sidelines of the Data Protection Africa Summit in Accra, Executive Director of Africa Digital Rights Hub, Teki Akwete, underscored the need for stakeholders to proffer solutions to the limitations associated with emerging technology.
These things are very fundamental, and it is known that without people having their space to be themselves, it affects development and growth. So as human beings, we naturally need to have that privacy, which is why it's a fundamental right. Now, if it's a fundamental right, what we have seen historically is that anytime there are opportunities to collect more information, people become wary and worried. How am I going to be protected and all of that? And with the advent of these technologies, it's inevitable that information will be collected. So the laws are there to push for more protections to be given to individuals whose information is collected. And I think it's extremely important, especially in our part of the world, as we're embracing these technologies, to also start thinking around these issues and how we can make sure that people are adequately protected in our countries.
That was the Executive Director of Africa Digital Rights Hub, Teki Akwete. The HR to employee ratio is 2.5 per 100 employees in Ghana. This is according to the 2022 HR Outlook and Benchmarking Survey report. The report further indicated that the proportion of learning and development budget to the total HR budget was as low as 2.16% to as much as 68% in some organizations. Here is Dr. Eric Afoldazi, the team lead for the survey, highlighting some key findings of the report.
I would say shocked. We've known that some of you are already using it. You are using social technology in recruitment now, but I didn't know that this would be here. Of course, you are still using very conservative channels. So number one in there is the employee referral. It means that organizations in Ghana still use or rely on employee referrals. Okay, but what was striking was that LinkedIn came third or joined third. And that means that, that the veil is being removed, right? Though HR tends to be a bit conservative, you are now using social technologies. So those were the top hiring sources. That means that now that you know, you shouldn't be afraid. You can have a guided approach to recruiting from some of these social technologies.
That was the team lead for the 2022 HR Outlook report, Dr. Eric Afol-Dazi. The European Union delegation to Ghana has announced the opening of applications for its EU West African Fusion Artist Residency Expo from today until January 3, 2024. The Residency Expo is being held to bring together artists comprising musicians, fashion designers, and visual artists from Ghana, Togo, Benin, and other EU member states to promote their rich cultural heritage. The winning team will be selected based on 3 thematic areas, including fashion, music, and visual arts. His EU ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Erchard Razali, addressing the press today.
No, what's next is, of course, this will serve as a platform for them to showcase, not for all of them, not only the winners, of course, because this is a key opportunity. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of artists in Europe who are looking for opportunities to residence, because this is the moment where they can put their mind at rest to create. So this is a huge opportunity, and this should not be underestimated.
His Excellency Erchard Razali is the EU ambassador to Ghana. That's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Eno Safo. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That'll be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move Personal Loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Charlie, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Mommy, please, let's go. Hey, why are you taking the whole family? You've forgotten I said I was coming here today?
Forgive me, but we are all headed to Royal Senchi for Christmas.
But it's not Christmas yet.
Shit. Christmas has started early at the Royal Senchi. From now till 21st of December, you can book a room for 2 people at a promo rate of 1,500 cedis on bed-only basis.
You're joking. 1,500 cedis for a room at the plush Royal Senchi? Let me call my husband now.
Call 0244 958 822 or 0303 409 180 or send an email to reservations@theroyalsenchi.com. Terms and conditions apply. The Royal Senchi, your luxury riverside escape.
Baby, are you okay, madam? Everything is fine.
Oh, nice.
Hey, wait, I can hear another heartbeat. Wait, it's 2 more heartbeats.
Auntie Ness, babe, what are you saying?
Hey, you're having triplets.
Hey, Radimu. Oh my God.
Sir.
Mommy, not today, oh.
Life is great at throwing up unplanned situations, and many of them will revolve around money. Fight financial anxiety, embrace freedom, and the confidence of knowing that you've got it even before you need it. With the Access Bank Visa Platinum Credit Card, you get a disposable income without depending on your salary. Pay for what you need without begging for a loan. Manage your lifestyle on your own terms. It's possible. It's freedom. For more information, visit our website www.ghana.accessbankplc.com or call our toll-free 0800 004400. Access freedom. Access more. Access Bank. More than banking.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Here on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, in accordance with the district level elections regulations of 2015 CI 89, the Electoral Commission will conduct the district level elections on the 19th of December 2023. This follows the expiration of the term of the Assembly and Unit Committee members on the 17th of December 2023. We've heard the National Commission for Civic Education speak on the matter, rallying Ghanaians to come out and vote on the 19th of December. Police has assured of a safe, secure, and transparent exercise. It's time to hear from the body mandated to conduct the election. This is the Electoral Commission. And so we'll hear from the Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Srebwo Kwaku, who has been speaking with City News' Hansen Ajiman.
In less than 1 week to the district level election, where are we per the process?
First, I will start to the voters register. About 2 weeks ago, we sent the register to the regions for the districts to check and report if there are any corrections to be made. So the registers are in the region. The same week, we sent the loaded BVDs to them, and that one, they are also there. So that's one session with respect to the register. Then with respect to the ballot papers, we started dispatching them yesterday. We are hoping that all things being equal, by Friday, the ballot papers should be at the regions. Then with respect to the personnel, we have 3 levels of training. The first one is the key trainers training. That is where the regional directors and the deputies are trained in Accra here. That one was done about 2 weeks ago. Then last week, they did the TOT training of trainers. That is where the regional directors who were trained at the KTT also trained the district officers and their return officers. That has also been done. So the last stage is where the district officers and the return officers will train the officials who will actually do the work at the polling station. We call that one grassroots training. They are starting that one tomorrow and it's finished on Saturday. So God willing, Saturday, we are hoping that the results are gone, the BDVDs are gone, the ballot papers will have been sent, then the training will have been completed. And in that case, I would say will be set for the election proper.
You know that usually the Electoral Commission sometimes will rely on auxiliary staff for some of these exercises. What is the staff arrangement for this district level election?
Thank you. And that's what I call the grassroots people. So we have recruited them. About 80% of them are basically from the GS. So they are there. Then we have some few people from National Service and other things. So we have done the recruitment, and the training is starting tomorrow, and we'll finish the training on Saturday.
So you have a number to the number that...
with respect to the return officers, we have 261 districts, but Nkranza North and South are not voting. You know the story there, DKM issue. So the 259, we have 259 return officers. Then we have 259 times 2 deputy return officers. Then we have 6,215 deputy return special duties. They are those in charge of the various return officers. So they receive the nomination. They will do the platform mounting. They will be presiding officers on the election day, and they will do the collation and declare the results. So they are also there. Then we will have 38,000 plus presiding officers, then 38,000 plus verification and name reference list officers. So we have the same number for ballot issuers. So it's a huge number that we are talking of, yes. Then all the recruitment and the training is going to start tomorrow.
Now, you said the ballot papers have gone already. It
started yesterday.
It started yesterday, so they are in the process of dispatching them to the various districts. Did the commission have reason to disqualify any of the candidates who put themselves up for the district level election?
Well, some of them could not complete the process. I cannot put figures to that, but some of them couldn't complete. I will not say we disqualify them, but once they did not, we only applied the law. So the law disqualified them. Yes. Then we have a lot of petitions that we have asked the regional directors to investigate. Some are petition people on the fact that they have not been paying their taxes, they are not been paying their basic rate, they are using political party symbols and the rest. I remember one of them, I wrote to the regional director to investigate and give me the feedback. And the feedback is that he is denying ownership of their card. So the posters are there, but he's saying that he didn't
do it. So in such an instance, what did you do?
You can't do anything because we have a case in 2015 in the Chamsu Ashanti region. The person was disqualified for using parties, symbols, and other things. The guy went to court. He became a big person. That's why I don't want to mention the name. He went to court on the ground that he did not paste them. It was the opponent who pasted them. We also did not see him pasting.
You don't have any evidence to show that he did it.
So the court gave judgment that we cannot hold him for something he has not owned up. And I don't know whether that is the reason why this one is also saying so. So once he denies it, unless you are able to hold him to it that I saw him pasting and the rest. And even that one, you have to go to court because it becomes a legal issue. The Electoral Commission does not prosecute, it does not give court verdict. So,
comparatively, what would you say has been the level of interest, gauging from the number of nominations that you got? What has been the level of interest at the local level?
I don't know, but I am tempted to believe that this time around, the interest is very high. Wow. Because if you go to the ground, you see a lot of posters. Here at funerals and the rest, they come there in their names to campaign. Even at the church, they come there.
So it looks like the candidates are putting in some form of work this time around.
I see that this time the competition is keen, and then as compared to the previous period. And
we've always had district level elections close to the general elections.
2 years.
It used to be 2 years.
2019 it was 1 year, and this time it was 1 year.
Can that be a reason? Since we are getting close to the main election, and so
look, because politicians are behind them. So go straight to your question. Yes, you see, the politicians, all these things are, do I say, speculation. If you go to them, they will deny it. And we should not lose sight of the fact that if the person is a politician, it does not mean that the person cannot campaign for somebody.
Cannot just sponsor.
They cannot sponsor. And you can also use your platform for them to campaign. Yes. So if I am a party chairman, I can contest as an assembly member. The law doesn't stop me. The only thing that when I'm campaigning, I should not say they vote for me because I am this party person or whatever.
So the issue that we observe when we see known political faces contesting in itself is not an error in law.
What is the party? So if I'm a party member, it doesn't mean that I cannot contest. But when I am contesting, my party should not be sponsoring me by campaigning for me, asking people to vote for me. That's what the law frowns on. But it does not mean that if you are a party member, you cannot contest. In that case, then nobody will contest. Because if you go to the underground, most of these people are police station executives, constituency executives, who are also doubling us.
To what extent was the commission interested in the conversation about politicizing the elections at the local level, that is directly allowing political parties to be able to sponsor and to use their platforms? Because the argument has been that obviously we knew their faces, we knew these people who were already part of these political parties. And if we then allow the political parties to be directly involved, it may go on to increase the level of participation.
You see, the commission has not come out clearly to take a stand, but I think that we are behaving as ostriches. Because you and I know that these people are being supported by the political parties. And when the election is done, you hear the party saying that our candidate, we want this number of seats. And so what are we talking about? In 2019, they were doing it. Right now, they are doing, even you hear from some circles that even the parties will do primaries for their so-called.
We've even heard in some instances that the political parties, have a budget for the various candidates and give out. In Awoshi, for instance, we had allegations where they said the governing NPP, for instance, had given out street lights to assembly member contestants to be able to fix on their street.
So when you go, the issue then becomes proof. Yes. And it becomes very difficult for you to prove. But if you go by the allegations and speculations and the rest, clearly you read that there's some form of truth, but you don't have concrete evidence to prosecute such situations.
But is there any truth really, or are we just looking for reasons to whip up, to say that we can whip up interest at the local level? Is there any truth to that? Indeed, if political parties are directly involved, the interest and participation of the general populace will increase? That
one, to me, no doubt about that. Because once the parties are involved, the competition level increases. And once it is become more competitive, automatically it will whip up the interest of the people to contest and also to vote. So once the parties are brought in, that's my stand, not the electoral commission stand. Now, the whole thing has become politicized. We are behaving that it is not, but it is. That even when somebody is nominated as a district chief executive, you hear that these parties, assembly members are saying this, that they will not vote for this for that.
Maybe aren't you taking this stance because you are in charge of elections, and one of the perhaps metrics for which you want to judge yourself is how involved the citizenry will be. But there are those who are saying that the local governance level is the very base of our political organization structure. And the least we should do is to bring in the acrimony of politics into our local governance.
I agree with you if we will respect the law. If we will agree that this one is non-partisan, so the political party should not be involved, then I will agree with your case. But what I'm saying is that you are saying that they should not do it, but behind the scene, they are doing it. So why don't you formalize it? Because the thing is that I said they should not be there. You and I sitting here, are you not aware that they are behind them? Are you not? Yes. So what are we hiding from? If we will respect it, and like I was talking of, somebody, and this one that I'm talking of, the party symbol is on the posters, not the colors.
Even colors?
No, symbol on the party's poster, on the candidate's posters. Then he was confronted with it, I don't know who did it.
You also don't have any evidence.
No, the evidence that is there, but you don't know who posted it.
You don't have any evidence that he did it.
Exactly.
But
there was one that came, even the picture that the person took was the party's T-shirt. It's a party T-shirt. So I called the printer and told them that we cannot go. So what they should do is that they should blur the symbols so that nobody will see that this is because you can you imagine that you paste the notice of poll and the person is in party T-shirt. So they are there. They are there that we are refusing to admit that they are there. But like I told you, you have less than 1 week. Let them finish the election and you hear the feedback. Our party won this, our party won that. Something which is not partisan.
It's not being true to ourselves as a people.
That's it. So my point is that if you don't want it, it should not be there. If the people want it, let us give it to them.
Now, in this election, for instance, I know when you undertake activities like voter register, one of your metrics is to the extent at which the registrants subscribe to it. Is voter turnout one of the metrics you're looking at in judging your success?
No, so we normally do comparison because of the last 2 weeks, we are also hovering around 33% or something like that. So we are praying that this time we go around 40 plus to 50. Then we read that it is better than it used to be. But from the ground, there's no way that this level can catch up with the general election because of the role of the political parties and the rest. So we want to go at least to go beyond 40%, which will be an improvement upon the previous one.
Well, people say then, what have you been doing to at least make sure that you're able to achieve this?
Well, I don't know if you have been listening to. I believe your media house has been advertising some of our adverts. Then we are also doing the platform mounting, where we are marketing the candidates before the voters. So that's a way of enticing them to come and observe.
Like a town hall meeting of a sort, so you call it platform mounting. So all the candidates will be there. You give them the opportunity to be able to speak to the people.
We started that from the 2nd of December, and we are going to do it up to the 17th.
That should be costly.
That's ongoing, but because it is non-partisan. The law expects that the individuals cannot sponsor those things, so it is incumbent on the commission to provide that platform for them. So we have platform monitors for each of the electoral areas.
How helpful or otherwise has state institutions like the National Commission, NCC, have been towards this drive?
I know they are also engaging the candidates and the voters. And yesterday I heard of one of their campaigning song on those issues. So they are also doing their part. Apart from the NCC, I've not heard much about any other institution.
But observing that our system remains this way, we appear to be deceiving ourselves that we want to keep it non-partisan. What are some of the things that we can do to whip up interest at the level? Because the local if anybody has a problem, the first person that person will go to will most likely be the assembly member. But here's the case: you have less than 35% of the people in the constituency participating in an election to select the assembly member. On democratic credentials level, it may not meet the representative principle. So what can we do to whip up interest?
I will go for empowering the assembly members in the Union Committee. We should have some form of resources. Like if you go to the common fund, we have MP's common fund. The certain percentage can also be set aside for the assembly member. So the assembly member can also do small form of developmental activities, maybe repairing school buildings, maybe pipe and water, they are repairing. Something for them to also be seen as doing something. Because if I don't appreciate that you have something for me, it becomes difficult for me to entice me to come and vote for you. But if people come to realize that resources are being channeled through the assembly members, therefore, if you have the right assembly member, that resource could be used to the best of your advantage, you automatically come in. So if you can also channel some resources to support the assembly members for them to be more visible, then it will whip up interest in the elections too.
Let's talk about Guan. It is a new district. I hope they've kept in line with the timelines with all other districts.
They have. They also voted on the same day, 19th. They did their nomination last week, and we received them on Sunday. They are almost done with the printing. The notice of poll are gone. They are working on their ballot papers, so they will also catch up with the rest of them. It affected Guan and Jessica, because once you are taking away Guan, it is affecting the size of Jessica. So you need to come. And so the CI has now established both the Guan and the Jessica. So both of them will also take part.
So it is together that pushes the district to 261, which 259 are participating.
Exactly.
Now,
that two are also not contesting. Yes. So you come back to 259.
Yes. So 259 are participating. But how have they received it, and particularly the people in Guam?
I will WhatsApp the results of the nomination for you to see. And most of the places, apart from one district in Guam, one electoral area, all the other, I think there are 13 electorates. All of them are being contested with a exception of one.
So that one has an independent.
Exactly. One person filed unopposed.
That was the Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Siribo Kweku, speaking with City News' Hansen Ajiman on the upcoming district-level elections slated for the 19th of December 2023. Well, that's it for Point Blank and, of course, Eyewitness News here on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Nanatufu Boateng. I did this with Eno Safo. Show produced by Samiria Faye, Kobna Wilson, Bevelin London, and with technical support from Daniels Kwashi. Many thanks for your time. Many thanks for listening. Stay with us here on 97.3 Citi FM for more relevant programming. Have a good evening.